Me and my sister, we have a past. We almost died at the hands of a witch. But that past made us stronger. We'd gotten a taste of blood, witch blood. And we haven't stopped since.
Hey guys, Lucas here again for another movie review. I am proud to say that January is over. This was the last week of movies that come out in this month. And for those that don't know, January is the crap pile month of the movie seasons where the studios dump all of their movies that they think suck or don't have a place to put or don't know how audiences are going to react. And they put them in this month, and that's why it's the crappiest. And Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters is a prime example of a January movie. It stars Jeremy Renner and Gemma Arterton, and this was shot pre-Avengers, so if you're wondering why Jeremy Renner did this movie, it's because of that reason. And it also stars Famke Janssen, Peter Stormare, and Thomas Mann. Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters is another in a series of movies that are trying to take this old fairy tale and kind of add a modern twist to them. And also this is similar to the films such as like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, but this is more similar to the films like Red Riding Hood and Snow White and the Huntsman, or any just kind of fairy tale that's been trying to be revamped. This is a terrible movie, yes. I'm not going to beat around the bush, as you could probably tell, but I'm not shocked by that because I went into it just to rip it apart, and I'm not going to completely rip it like I did Texas Chainsaw 3D because that movie was just insulting. This movie is just really dumb. The acting is pretty atrocious, but I'm not going to blame most of the actors in this because most of the actors that are in this movie have proven themselves to be solid actors, especially Jeremy Renner and Peter Stormare. And Peter Stormare is completely over the top in this movie. He's kind of like a sheriff who's a little villain, but he's only in the movie for 20 minutes. His delivery is so over the top, it's crazy, and I really just blame the director. I think why this movie kind of goes between goofy and over the top and at times serious is, while I was watching this movie, it seemed like the director and the screenwriters did not know whether if they wanted to make this like a campy, almost kind of comedy, or have a little bit of fun with it, but also make it serious. And they really don't know how to do that or make up their mind, and that's why the actors are also having such a tough time, because the director's not making up his mind, so neither can the actors. So when you see a lot of actors in this movie who have proven to be really good act like idiots. And it doesn't help when they have an abysmal script with some of the worst dialogue that I've heard in a movie for the past couple of months. They tried to make this movie R, and I think it went from being R to PG-13 to back to R. And you could tell that they really just wanted to make an R just to make it like a classical, just to kind of have a joke on the old fairy tale, because every line in this movie where it involves profanity, it sounds like a 10-year-old kid wrote it who just discovered cursing for the first time. The dialogue and the way that the actors deliver, especially Gemma Arterton, who has proven to be not that great of an actress in the past, is pretty cringeworthy, and pretty much every character in the movie has at least one painful line of dialogue. Not only are your main two leads uninteresting and they don't really have chemistry, but the other side characters on this one they either rank from pointless to incredibly annoying, and that brings me to Thomas Mann's character. And Thomas Mann, if you don't know him, he's the kid from Project X, and he plays this guy or kid who's like a fan of Hansel and Gretel, and every time he was on screen, I just wanted to kick him in the nose. He was so annoying. His character's in the movie for 5 minutes and really provides little to no story progression. And even though this movie takes place like in old times, he's saying stuff like hell yeah, and they also have like Gatling guns, and it just doesn't make any sense. The makeup in this movie is really bad too. Like, all the witches in this movie look like they were rejects from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And that also brings me to another completely pointless character in this movie. There's an ogre named Edward in this movie. Yes, there's an ogre named Edward, and it's some guy in a suit, because you can completely tell. But it looked so bad and unrealistic. It looked like it was something out of like a TGIF's cartoon mixed with one of those Goomba characters from the Super Mario Brothers movie. It looked so dated and so bad that I was not only was he pointless, but he was almost kind of unintentionally funny. And you couldn't understand a word he was saying. He sounded like Sylvester Stallone. And probably the biggest offense of this movie is that it's just boring. I mean, there's a couple of decent action sequences, but a lot of them are really choppily edited, and there's actually only like 3 major action sequences in this movie that were even that over 2 minutes long, really. And the big climax of this movie, there's really no build-up, so I wouldn't even say this movie's worth watching on its goofy entertainment value. You get a couple unintentional laughs with this movie, but once the credits start rolling, just kind of look to the person next to you and be like, well, that happened, because that's actually what I said when this movie was over. It's a typical January movie, maybe a little bit worse, but I'm not mad at this movie because I knew it was going to be bad. That's why I saw it. That's why it kept getting pushed back and the ratings kept changing. Just a typical crappy January movie. So Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters gets 1.5 out of 5 from me. That's my review of Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. Please tell me if you're going to see it. I would definitely not recommend seeing it. Did you think it looked like it could be campy fun? Are you tired of these revamped fairy tales that no one seems to really like and they don't really end up being that good? So please tell me what you thought. Please subscribe if you like this review, and I'll see you guys later.
I see you got my invitation.
I have my sister. Well, that's new. Hell yeah! Good morning, sunshine.